Good afternoon, and welcome to the Too Much Dip podcast. My name's Dave. I'm going to host today. Joining me in studio, as always, it is none other than the internet's own, a favorite of sports fans, Dylan Chivalry.
Wow, Dave, thank you for the fantastic introduction. You know, there are only like 40-something days until college football. If you're paying attention, cannot get here soon enough. Very excited for that.
We're going to talk a little college football today.
Good.
Hope you got getting your beak a little wet, because you're going to get it wet, Dylan. Might be a first for you, motherfucker.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
His beak.
My beak stays wet, dog. It's called an afternoon cup of bing bong, David. Maybe look into it.
I had a Celsius earlier. I had a watermelon Celsius, and it hit. Got to say, it's been a while, and I'm back on it. Hey, that voice you just heard, live from Madison, fresh off of a vacation to Central Texas. It's KJ.
Great to be with you, fellas. Many apologies are probably due. I regret being less than a couple hours away and not making it very, very clear that the goal was to embark on mischievous shenanigans, if you will, with as many of the lads as possible. Instead, your boy flew in, didn't have any shenanigans, and flew out early. It was a real C- of a trip, but nevertheless, the hall pass continues to be stamped for one additional year in perpetuity. So we'll get at him next year, maybe from Asheville or Lake Tahoe. Who knows?
Yeah, KJ came under fire from me specifically because this is a group of guys that I went to Montana with last summer, and they didn't do Montana.
Correct.
They decided to do Canyon Lake, which is New Braunfels way. Land of rivers and lakes, things of that nature. And I didn't think KJ was going. And then I found out Wednesday KJ was going. So I was like, well, thanks for telling me. And then I went to text KJ and one of the other guys. What?
Just didn't get any kind of digital communication from KJ.
You and me both. Well, actually, that's not exactly true. I went to text KJ and our good friend Jake about the trip, and above the last text sent was KJ saying, "Hey, I'm definitely in. I'm coming down." And I was like, "Ooh." You did kind of tell us, but there was no response, and that's on me. But I feel like you should have doubled down.
I will defend my honor one time here if you will turn your attention to the meme team group text when one Cat Pat or Cat Perry, I don't know, mentioned that her husband is going to be in Austin for a bachelor trip, I believe this weekend, to which my response was, should have come down the week prior. I will be there to float. Both of you were included on that communication.
Can I tell a little secret?
He's like, I don't read 10 of those texts.
Sometimes that text gets so overwhelmed that I skim it. I don't give
That's
it
fair.
the attention that each comment deserves.
Yeah, dropping that information into a group text shared
Like
by
45 people
shared by many people who that doesn't even apply to. That's an unvite. So
Fair. I was going to turn that towards Randy for not then telling me that he was floating, because he's also in that group text. So I guess that's not going to fly either.
Hey, maybe next time you're in Central Texas for a float trip, you'll make an effort to see your dear friends who live,
Shockingly,
30 minutes away.
Shockingly, 2 trips in the first 6 or 7 months of the year. Nobody had that in the cards.
Let me just say, it was an hour, 10 minutes to their house that they were at. I looked it up because I was going to go down Saturday, and I did not. But it was an hour and 10. I've been to Canyon Lake. I need to send the picture to you I stayed at a place that was easily the worst Airbnb that's ever been Airbnb'd. It was on the lake too. Super shitty, but the place y'all had looked nice. Did you at least have fun? Was there any fun had?
There was a good amount of fun. I screwed myself right out of the gate.
Nice.
By booking my flights, but not following through with the purchase. And I put them on hold because I didn't have my credit card at my desk. And so it's like, okay, I'll get back to this within 24 hours. I did not. Flight costs went up dramatically into San Antonio or Austin or DFW because a lot of that group was driving down. It was $300 or $400 cheaper to fly into Houston Same distance as Dallas was my rationale, but it was just a poor decision. So there I was driving 3+ hours solo, the opposite direction. And my flight out was tremendously early. And I knew that was going to be a problem, but it caused all kind of havoc. But nevertheless, again, we'll live and learn. We will live and learn.
It's just kind of like when you play your ZA card in the ZA. Like you play, let's say you played it on like Sunday night, which is a bold time to play it, obviously, because then you cannot have pizza for the rest of the week.
Your weeks start on Sunday?
Okay.
The ZA card weeks do.
Yeah, it's set in stone.
Okay.
I didn't make the rules. I'm just interpreting
You
it
just
to you.
interpreted the text, KJ.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. But it's kind of like if you play your ZA card on Sunday night, and let's say you got like, what's a shitty pizza place? You did Little Caesars.
Oh,
Hot and ready.
pita.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, dude, I lived on that stuff in college. I freaking lived on it, Randy.
Randy did too.
It's just like that, right?
Detroit's own.
Is that a good comp for the trip? I feel like I'm shitting on the trip, and I wanted to go. It looked fun.
It was, I would probably say that it's you called Domino's and didn't ask for any coupons. You didn't do any online deals. You paid full rate, and they showed up an hour late. That's what the trip was. It was still quality pizza. You got what you were coming for, but you paid full tilt.
Okay.
Again, live and learn, people. You live and learn.
Hey, follow us on the social media, Twitter and Instagram specifically. Hell, even Threads. Did you see the usage rate on Threads?
Yeah. Not great.
Not great.
It hit the floor.
Kind of think my conspiracy theory, my personal conspiracy theory that it was just an attempt for Meta just to gather like as much data as possible with minimal effort, and knowing that it wasn't going to be a viable long-term competitor to Twitter. That being said, I signed up for it.
That chart I saw, graph, whatever you want to call it,
Not good.
was exactly parallel to my personal use on Threads. The first day,
Me too.
I was like, okay, we'll see what this is about. I think I fired off maybe 2 threads, that you call them, and then another one the next day. And then I have not opened the app since because I just don't need it right now. If Twitter dies, I'll go over there. Until that happens, I'm going to stay.
What is dead may never die.
Okay.
There you go.
That's
That
something I've
fits.
said often. Yeah, I agree. I've been on Twitter a lot. I was looking forward to mixing it up, but I was also worried that my online time, which is way too high already, was about to just potentially double, but that's not been the case. So shout out to Threads, shout out to their family.
I don't need 2 almost identical social media platforms.
Yeah.
Don't. I'm just going to do one.
We're in kind of a weird spot for sports. I'd love to break down where the Rangers are in the AL West race every Monday. And once we get down to it, the last 30 games or so, we will probably get pretty in-depth on that. However, I'm not going to point out that the Rangers are 3-0 since the All-Star break. That's not that important.
They got the brooms out.
They got a big series. They got Tampa in town, best team in the AL. And we'll focus more on that down the road. But right now, we got to look over Netflix way. That's a streaming service, a platform. Specifically, quarterbacks. Something that I remember us talking about, or at least texting about a while back. Completely forgot that this was happening, and we are going to break down episodes 1 and 2. What was that look, KJ? Am I wrong?
I don't remember. I don't remember it happening at all before like 2 weeks ago. And I'm sure it was on a radar. But anyways, I was just enhancing the fact that like I too forgot.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like whenever you have a camera crew following around someone of Pat Mahomes' stature, then like you'll see a lot of write-ups and it'll have a lot of buzz. I feel like this didn't have a ton of buzz.
I didn't know about it either until it was on Netflix.
Maybe this
live.
Completely we whiffed on this, but we are relatively early, right? This just dropped in the last week.
No, we're on time. This dropped last Wednesday or so.
Okay, so we're getting Marcus Mariota we're getting Kirk Cousins, and we're getting Patty Mahomes through 2 episodes. Overall, what do you think?
Overall, I think I'm paying attention because they switch back and forth between the 3 guys, right? They'll do 10 minutes on Mahomes, 10 minutes on Cousins, 10 minutes on Mariota, and they'll kind of just bounce back and forth. Anytime Mariota's on the screen, I either want to fall asleep or just like scroll my phone because he is just a big old nothing burger in the personality department. He does absolutely nothing for me. He's just so boring.
He's boring, and
I'm
unfortunately,
sorry.
so's Kirk Cousins. But at least Kirk Cousins has like kind of like the dorky dad factor.
Kirk Cousins comes off as more likable than I expected him to be. I'm not saying I love Kirk Cousins, but he's jovial and he's I don't know, he shares more and he's more engaged. I don't know. I don't love the guy, but I want to see what he's like behind the scenes. Mariota, it's watching paint dry, man. There's just absolutely nothing there. And he's not a standout quarterback, so it's like, why are you on here again?
I found the most compelling parts of his first 2 episodes to be like highlights of him at Oregon.
Yeah.
Which were inherently sick.
He won the Heisman.
He was very, very, very fun
that
year, that Heisman year.
I sent this text into the Too Much Dip group. I said, no, because Landry's in there, big tech guy, Texas Tech. If you're a Texas Tech fan, this is like pornography for you because your guy, it's highlighting your guy, and they're all obsessed with Mahomes. How they got the best football player in the world went to Texas Tech. I don't know how that happened, but it did, and they get to claim him, and that's cool for them. Then at the beginning of episode 2, it starts in Lubbock. They Mahomes and family fly into Lubbock, and he gets honored, the Ring of Honor, whatever they call it there. And he's just talking up Texas Tech and Lubbock and how he became the quarterback he is on campus there. And like, all right, good for you guys.
Yeah, KJ, I was looking around that Ring of Honor, see if there's
familiar names.
See if there's any familiar names. What side of the stadium are you on?
They're definitely, I shouldn't say definitely. There's probably an unclaimed Cotton Bowl ring somewhere with my name on it. Although I imagine it was probably auctioned off or just given away years ago after never going back to claim it. Big regret, and I'll get to that when we talk Kirk Cousins. My overall quick notes on the show: produced by Peyton Manning, which explained like the initial, not cameo, but kind of feed into the importance of the position of quarterback, without it being like us hearing Omaha Productions like right out of the gate. Thumbs up to him. Like, maybe it's just that Netflix has an idea of how to make sports documentaries now. And so it's quality film. It's, done fairly well. It's edited fairly well. Like, for this to be the first type of thing I've seen like this, quality wise, I felt just as good as like early Hard Knocks days without all the fluff.
Yeah.
Like, this felt almost a better way to go about it than following one team for 6 weeks when you're going to follow a player that's not going anywhere during Hard Knocks, or a season where the outcome. So I enjoyed it. Quick note on Marcus. Well, actually, let's step back. Let's pick one quarterback to kind of each of us lead the convo on. I'll take Marcus Mariota since the two of you seem to have strong feelings for the other.
I'll take Kirk.
You're going to give me Pat?
You got Pat. Yeah.
I'll get Marcus out of the way because I think that maybe he's the least to offer here. 3D mammographies, not mammographies. 3Ds, we're not scanning the mams. The 3D sonography or 4D ones, that was pretty badass.
Are you okay?
That was like the highlight. Did you not see that? Where they went and scanned their soon-to-be daughter for like 10 minutes on television?
Oh, yeah.
And she rewound and got the baby smiling?
Okay. The way you said that,
I stumbled and said mammography. That's not what I meant. I meant sonography.
Okay, it sounded like I sorry. I understand what you're saying now. No, we all looked
I'm
at each
genuinely
other.
saying that was cool. I'm not saying like I turned on this show for that, but
No, I
you know,
know. No, you're right. It was cool. I just the way those words rolled together there. I was worried about what was happening to you.
no, I'm not stroking out, and I did not mean to say ma'ams. Other than that, the biggest intrigue that I have for Marcus Mariota's segment of the show is knowing that it's going to be an absolute car wreck of a season.
Yeah.
And everything I've ever heard about Marcus Mariota is that he's one of the most genuinely nice people, quarterback wise. So when we get to the point in the season where he's benched, and when reports were coming out that he basically left the team or quit the team toward the end of the season, or like was injured and decided not to travel and do his treatment with the team, I want to see what that's like. And I have no idea. I haven't even tried to spoil it for myself and like find out where he's signed to or where he's at now. But I think he's giving major we're seeing the end of his career vibes in this season.
Ooh.
I confess to watching ahead. I have seen that part. I won't talk about it, but
Yeah.
they do get into it. I can't confirm.
I was gonna say when you were talking about how boring it is, like the only saving grace is that you know how it ends, and it's kind of like, man, you really hate it for the guy because he does seem like a great dude. At the same time, it's like, oh, that's kind of compelling. See the wheels kind of fall off, and I forgot he almost went back to back on game losing fumbles.
Yeah.
Week 1 and week 2, whatever it was. That was tough.
They caught some really interesting games during the documentary, which is cool. The Vikings comeback game, greatest comeback in NFL history, was featured in one of the later episodes.
Spoiler.
I mean, it happened last season. It's
when we get to the Vikings Bills, like is that the game?
Yeah.
Can I say that
when they get to that episode, like I'm aged for that. They showed in the previews at the end of 2, and I'm sitting there like pre-rambling things that they're going to hit on in the show while watching it with Nicole. And I'm like, oh, and this guy, this, and this. But when they get to this game, it's going to be exciting. They show that, and I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah. There's a lot that happened last season that weren't things that I remembered, like the greatest comeback in, was it NFL history, regular season history?
All NFL history.
Don't remember that. Like, not when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, it's crazy. But
they completed a 33-point comeback.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They also had the infamous, the Pat Mahomes, just insane touchdown
goal line
flick. Yeah, on the goal line, which I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that. Speaking of Pat Mahomes, if I may, glaring lack of Jackson.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in that. I wanted some insight into what makes that dude tick.
I bet they decided to remove him. I bet they decided to edit him upon the revelations, the accusations, the criminal charges.
So. Yeah, he does make a couple of appearances, but it's very brief, and he doesn't even speak.
Because there's a lot of Brittany Mahomes in the press box, or not in the press box. In the box? Yeah, just a little bit.
Is she in the show?
And you're watching her, go crazy as she does, for her mans. And there's no Jackson, and you're like, how is this possible? Because they seem to be like BFFs. Oh, what? BFFs, best friends forever. Is what I was saying.
Best friends forever.
Yes.
Yeah, not much Jackson Mahomes. Brittany is featured more as the season goes on. I will say they have a kid together.
God.
Thank God
they have a kid together, and so there's they talk about that quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
She is, of course, they're not catching her in these like celebratory moments during the documentary, so she's much more like a normal person and not just screaming into her phone in selfie mode. So she is more tolerable.
That's good.
More tolerable.
That's good. When all you know about somebody is like them celebrating their team via, like you said, the selfie mode, Instagram Live, it's hard to really get a gauge on whether like that person is someone like you're down with.
Mhm.
So I look forward to that. I didn't realize they were high school sweethearts.
Oh yeah,
So that's
I
cool.
didn't realize she was older. Not that it mattered, but I'd seen the white photos from White House High School or whatever of Pat Mahomes with short hair and her, so I figured they knew each other then. But um, I will say this to her credit. I think she gets wronged by still shots. And I don't mean that from like a looks good, looks bad standpoint, but I think a lot of personality or like my mental impression of her is impressed upon her by some of the facial expressions that she'll have during still shots or very short photos or very short photos, very short videos. Like the Pat Mahomes and her say something and on the sideline and she rolls her eyes and like responds to Jackson on the other side of her or something like that. Or she always has that like I wish I was anywhere else face in a lot of still shots. I didn't get a lot of that here. I got some strong, you're going to be tired at the end of every day that you live life with this person vibes.
Do you think they? Yeah. Well, she's probably tired of Jackson making her hit the whoa or whatever it is. Fucking just looking for some views.
that the
Yeah, you
whoa?
did it. That is it. Good job. Clip that. No, my favorite part of the Mahomes stuff was them just talking about his athletic prowess with baseball and then football and like how strong his spine is. And that whatever that machine is that he was tugging on and spinning, never seen that. That's not something that they have at Lifetime. But I'd like to. I'd like to see how weak I am in my spine. I feel like I have a weak spine.
The baseball stuff is interesting to me because why doesn't that translate more if it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's in my head, it makes sense. But why aren't there more like baseball players turned quarterbacks that make those weird angle sidearm off schedule throws like that?
Kyler,
Instincts.
But Kyler that's not Kyler's game at all.
I think he makes a lot of, he doesn't do as many, I guess what they call off platform.
Off platform. That's what I was trying to think of.
I think that's the term, which like I think is perfect. Had never really used it. But I think Kyler does a lot of adjustments, but I think we all relate it more to his height than we do associate it with baseball.
He's a small
Russell
lad.
Wilson would be the other one.
But
who
again,
I think of like long baseball career.
The way
he doesn't do a lot of that either.
The way he throws a football is very traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Very. And so I don't know. It's got my head turning a bit. It's interesting the way they talked about it. And plus I think he was a pitcher. I don't think he played much infield, which
they did say he played shortstop. That's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Like, is that because the other? Well, Kyler was a shortstop, so that ruins my thought. I was going to say were the other two pitchers and he was a shortstop, but the video they showed he was on the mound. Great point. I can't think of anybody who's as unique as this, even though we have very similar baseball to quarterback comparisons.
Did I hear it correctly that he did not start playing quarterback till his junior year?
Yeah.
So that's pretty insane, and it kind of makes a little bit more sense when you think about it because he was obviously he put up big numbers at Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't always translate into wins.
No, very
just
rarely.
Not a necessary detail, but I'm just putting that out there just to keep my Tech friends humble. But you have to think like, let's say he was a quarterback like his whole life. Like you got to think that by the time he gets to high school, that he's not going to Texas Tech. Like he's getting recruited by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the development was later than I would imagine most.
They showed a couple of his high school clips in the show. And of course, there's a lot of tape on him, obviously, from high school. But from the few clips they showed, I wouldn't have offered him as a quarterback. He looked very unorthodox. His throwing motion was just weird.
Nothing looked tremendous in those videos.
He's just,
like that wasn't watching like a Lamar Jackson high school film or something where it's just like, holy shit, this guy is different.
He gets the ball where it needs to be, but he does it in just weird ways. And it's like, I don't know if this is going to translate to the next level. So I get why he didn't get a ton of like big time offers, but the dude just, obviously he finds a way to get it done and he's unbelievable.
Yeah. That being said, he was incredibly sick in college. Like
he was
but
when I remember he was getting a bunch of draft hype And I never understood why, because I mean, as a Texas fan, like I was only watched him when Texas played, and he would never really played that great against Texas. Obviously, he had a big arm, which I think got a lot of people building hype, but um, I never really got it. And
Yeah,
obviously, I was wrong.
he was probably playing in like a knee brace and a shoulder brace, like half those games. That's how I remember him at Tech. Like outside of the games I saw him, against Baylor when they used to play that game at AT&T Stadium, and he'd throw for like 600 yards. I always just remember him like in a body cast out there, just chunking it,
getting hit.
Yeah, just getting
constantly behind a
smoked.
terrible.
Wasn't the best O-line. Wasn't the best O-line.
No.
Let's talk Kirk.
One other note real quick on Pat Mahomes. Obviously Pat Mahomes Sr. played him in the big leagues for 11 years. I was happy they put in film of him. Like I've known that story always, but I've never really seen much video on it. I've never made the effort to.
Completely
it's all
agree.
out there. But I was
never
happy
seen
to
that.
see that and like, oh shit. I was also very happy to see he's just sitting there like, you remember the Brooks Koepka conversation in Full Swing where he's having like that very affirming conversation with one of his like dudes from his crew, and they're not at his house. It was like on tour after an event. And he's just like saying something, guys like reaffirming it right back to him. That conversation that went on with Pat, and he's got his two buddies like yucking him up. I'm like, okay. And then his dad just sitting there with a Coors Light. And I'm like as Christmas stockings are being held, I'm like, there's probably a weird ass scene that goes on in this family circle, as if we already didn't assume that much. But I hope that it's long-term sustainable. Obviously you get 2 Super Bowls, who gives a shit what happens after that? But it just seemed like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Oh, and apple cannons are fucking dope. I had that note written down.
That was it. I was trying to think of what the word was, where they even were. Was that like an apple farm? I guess that was a farm. And I guess they had the place all to themselves. And like, I can't think of anything cooler than just having unlimited apple cannon access.
It's sick.
It's like a potato gun, but it's an apple.
Yeah.
Still deadly.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Kirk, is it time?
It's time for Kirk.
Again, I watched beyond 2 episodes, so I might be confusing some of the content from the later ones with the first 2. They show him as like a family man. His wife is featured throughout it quite a bit. He gets really into like the grueling season-long like effort to stay mentally and physically able to play the position, which I find incredibly interesting. He deals with rib injuries throughout the entire season, and it shows the hits he takes and then the aftermath and the rehab he does between games. And he does these mental, this is definitely one of the later episodes, so I should probably not even say it, but he does like these mental brain exercises that are really interesting. Anyway,
Is that the meme? We meme something where he's got like electrodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a little worried that when our social guy memed that I was like, oh fuck, is this some like concussion shit that we're gonna look like dicks for memeing?
So he watches like a movie on it. It's connected to his iPhone.
Okay.
He's watching a movie, and if he stops paying attention, so if his attention span starts to wander, the screen will begin to fade to black, and that'll just trigger in his brain like you need to refocus again on what you're watching if you want the image to reappear on the. It's weird how it works.
Damn.
There are a few different ones
they have on Kyler's like film iPad?
Oh,
on
dude.
Kyler Murray when he got like lashed like for his contract talking about watching film. Do they have like some sort of eye sensor situation on his?
That's creepy.
I don't know.
iPad?
It's wild. I don't know how well it works. But
Wow.
he seems he's like, the more I do this, the better I play. I swear. So
What is this? An
it's
episode
wild.
of Black Mirror?
It's wild. It's interesting. But yeah, just the insight into the life of a starting NFL quarterback is super fucking interesting to me. It's the most difficult position to play in sports, which they talk about, but it is so true. And you can be really good one week, and then the next week you struggle, and then your job's on the line. It's wild, man.
He definitely has the most live, laugh, lovable home.
He does. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There's got to be.
He's a good old Christian boy, you know.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Seems like a very nice guy. KJ, you were critical of him. Go ahead and tell the people why.
I like Kirk Cousins. I'll start there. His wife in the first episode made me begin to think, oh shit, Brittany's going to have some like competition for least viewable spouse on this show. Because her whole, I dress Kirk, and yes, that is the Patagonia shirt. I just thought it looked great. Fall colors in September. What a better shirt. What else could he wear? Like, she is definitely walking around with the Stanley mug and probably makes a lot of insufferable Instagram video content. If she wasn't married to Kirk Cousins, like, she would be everything I despise about my algorithm. Having said that, a little bit of redemption when it got to like the Commanders episode, although she did bitch about like the travel she had to like get there on time. Okay, figure it out. In episode 2, Kirk takes you to, I believe it's in his basement, which, by the way, we saw his house in Minnesota, and then the shot from the outside of his house in Michigan, like right on the coast of the lake. That shit looked dope.
Was that the fire pit?
Fire pit, I think, was in Minnesota.
Fire pit situation was dope too.
The fire pit situation looked great. And that's, I would say, not standard, but for nicer neighborhoods, Wisconsin, Minnesota, like that's the kind of vibe you get. Really oversized lots. Homes look a little bit big just because of walkout basements, but that I understood. The house that's right on the lake looked fucking awesome until he walks you to, well, we didn't want all of my memorabilia that I'm a big collector to be like right there in main display in the living room. So everything is in one room. Which
I respect, by the way.
I do too, until you get into this like secret room, whatever. And everything's on display like a fucking museum. This is a very personal, not meant to be very showy experience. And literally it looks like Madame fucking Tussauds. Like, the entire room has mannequins. Everything is dusted, well lit, on display. Unless you're saying like, hey, I don't want concussions to erase the memory of like all of these things I'm proud of. Great. But like to the point where he has a small television in there that's likely playing film of his on loop at some point in time. I just felt like they were playing both angles of like, this is very personal, intimate, and means a lot to me. I respect that. I love that he keeps a lot of shit. Nothing I regret more than like not being able to remember a lot of my football, like past, not to the degree that his obviously,
your Cotton
but then
Bowl
having
ring.
Nothing to show for it. Pictures or anything. Cotton Bowl ring, prime example. Like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, go get it. I didn't. But so I love that he does it until there was a one shot I sent you guys screenshots of. And in back to back, like 2 seconds, they show a mannequin with his Vikings jersey uniform on it, helmet, jersey pants, everything. And hanging from the helmet is a purple mask, like a COVID year mask, which, if we all recall, Kirk Cousins was one of 2 very vocal quarterbacks of like, I'm just not going to get vaccinated. I'm going to follow my quarantine process. And like, that was his bit. If I'm not mistaken, was that not his position?
Yeah. I don't know how vocal he was about it, but I know he definitely, when he was asked about it, said that.
He didn't do the Aaron Rodgers thing about like
immunized
or whatever. He just flat out said he wasn't.
Right.
And that he would quarantine and he has his process and like, that's what his position was. And that was it.
Never mind.
Like, he's in Minnesota. Mayo Clinic's a huge sponsor, I believe, UMN, like leaders in healthcare. And so that was like a huge thing in that area. So for him to take the effort of like bringing a mask into his very manicured, very curated, very like purposeful, personal room and to like dangle it off of a mannequin seems questionable, because in the next shot, that mask disappeared. Like somebody made the conscious thought of like, wait, no, take that off of there. I don't want that in the shot.
You had me looking for it because you texted us about this.
Yeah.
I think it was just because it would have ruined the shot, because the shot was actually from the front, and it was a shot just of the mannequin, and it looked perfectly symmetrical. And the mask hanging off the side, I don't know, it's just not as aesthetically pleasing. It's not.
I agree, but then it shouldn't have been there in the first place. You know what I mean? Like when they walked in the room,
raw,
the first
man.
shot I sent you, like there's 2 or 3 shots where he's standing to the left of it, and it's center shot. That's the only way I noticed the mask, because then on the very next clip, it's not there, and I'm like, all right. So some discussion happened in that moment, like, oh, let me move this out of the way. And I don't know. Given his history on it, it seemed a little bit odd, but that's my gripe. I'm not saying he shouldn't have it there, but it tips his cards, I think.
Are you trying to say he didn't get the jab?
I'm saying he said that he didn't, which is okay for him to decide, but like maybe him like putting the mask in there is like a further sign of like, yeah, and I said, fuck you guys to, maybe he's more Kyrie than we understand because he wears LLB.
Maybe he was low key, like super terrified of COVID and like actually just didn't want to admit it. And he got jabbed. He got double jabbed, even got like doubled down. So he got quadruple jabbed. Maybe he just got jabbed the fuck up and was wearing that mask like even at his house. He's like, oh no, got to take this off for the next shot. Did you ever think of that?
I'm glad he has a bat cave with like wooden slats that look like they were taken out of like a memorabilia shop in the 90s.
The Mike Singletary connection, kind of wild. Mike Singletary
Yeah, that
was
was out of the blue.
football
that
coach.
was interesting.
It's kind of wild. Never knew that.
Hope he didn't see his dick.
I'm sorry?
Mike Singletary pulled his D out when he was a head coach of the 49ers in the locker room. He was yelling at Vernon Davis and other players for like arguing and carrying on. And I believe halftime game that they were losing. And he was like, oh, y'all are real badasses. You want to see who the real man is in here? Pulls his D out. Something along those lines. He didn't coach much after that.
Looking up Mike Singletary, Pen 15. Oh, yeah. It says he mooned his
There
team.
we go.
It's a mooning.
Okay.
Damn. All right. Well, shout out to Mike Singletary.
At halftime.
You can't just toss a dong out there at halftime, can you? Dylan, you ever seen something like that? Not a dong, but like a football dong?
I don't know how different football dongs are from regular dongs, but I haven't seen a football
At halftime,
specific.
it hits different.
I haven't seen a halftime football dong, no.
KJ?
That would be it, no.
I've never been attached to a public relations person saying he was just dramatizing how embarrassing it was. Getting our tails whipped out there. Now let's get back out there.
I feel
what
like
he was intending to do.
I feel like I've probably thinking back to like the 8th grade locker room at half. There's a pretty good chance somebody, not a coach, that would be extremely problematic. But somebody probably did.
Somebody pulled out their wiener.
Hit him with a bat wing,
Yeah.
or started doing the helicopter for some reason.
Hey, it happens.
It does. We fucking hear it every other week. Nobody goes as hard as the baseball guys. We know. You're gonna see some.
There's some freaks.
You're gonna see some 7th inning stretches. You know what I mean?
Baseball guys are just weird, man.
Yeah, you guys
It's
are
true.
fucking. That's your fucking deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell me about it.
Baseball
right.
guys and golf spectators, apparently. Just hanging D everywhere. I don't know. That clip was thrown into one of our group texts of the guy at the golf event where he just rests his piece on the.
Yeah. What? How does he not know? You obviously can feel. No one knows what we're talking about, but it's just what a
Anyways.
bizarre. That's another. I didn't even respond to that. Anything else on episodes 1 and 2? We're gonna watch the rest of it, and I don't know if we're gonna do 2 episodes at a time. I think we were just like, let's start with these 2, and we'll see how it goes.
Nothing more
Like
on
it.
it, man.
All in.
Cool. I can't wait to see how this season plays out.
Dylan's like, I'm fucking done.
Yeah, dude. Hey, dude, don't say anything, man.
Spoiler, it already happened.
Oh, no. Hey, man, you know what already happened? I consumed my AG1 today. Our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it literally every day. I gave AG1 a try because, I don't know, I was tired of taking so many supplements, wanted a single solution that supports my entire body and covers my nutritional bases every day. I want a better gut health, a boost in energy, immune system support, and I'll be honest, I kind of hate taking a bunch of pills and vitamins. So I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. Every scoop is packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients of high quality that give me major benefits like gut and mood support, boosted energy, and even healthier looking skin, hair, and nails. I drink it up, straight up. It's how I start every morning. Walk out to the kitchen, grab my AG1, mix it up, and I drink it, Dylan.
Is there a better way to start your day than drinking AG1?
If there is, I'd love for you to tell me because I don't think there is.
If I discover one, I will let you know.
If you want to take ownership over your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/bang. That's drinkag1.com/bang. Check it out. Let's talk golf.
Open Championship, the other Open.
Let's start with
Where are
the
we-
Open Championship.
Where are we playing this year?
Royal Liverpool. Liverpool.
Oh, David.
Royal Liverpool, Dylan. Do you want to guess who the last 2 winners of the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool were?
Ooh.
One of them might have won very recently, and the other one may not be playing because he's
Is that the last time Rory won?
he fucked his body up via driving. Yes, Rory did win.
Okay.
And
so
then
that was a
in-
long time ago.
And then 2006, Tiger Woods,
Tiger Woods.
who famously in that round hit 1 driver the entire week, which is a pretty fun fact. It was very dry.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of sick. And I don't think you're going to see that again. You're definitely not going to see that again. What I was reading is that the course is a little bit lush.
That
So
would explain why Rory is the odds-on favorite to win this week, as he not only has won on this golf course before, as you just said, but he just won the Scottish as well.
he did. I don't know how much of that you caught. Probably not much, since watching it on TV or anywhere was a total pain in the ass. It wasn't like I started seeing Twitter yesterday talking about it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go flip it on. Not on the Golf Channel. Golf Channel showing, I don't even know what they were showing. Steph Curry highlights, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, CBS Online, which I know isn't that hard to get to, but like when you got a kid and you're trying to do a bunch of things, it's just like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to watch this on my phone and raise a toddler who's just like over there just fucking shit up as they do.
You know, believe it or not, I caught a little tennis instead of
Tennis.
that tournament.
Tennis, huh?
Yeah, watch a little tennis.
The joke? The Joker?
Happy to see that dude go down.
Yeah, I was kind of pulling for him. I kind of like him now.
Yeah, he's just a jerk.
Wait,
Anyway,
are we
we're
doing?
talking golf.
Are we doing tennis yet?
Yeah, I
No?
don't know.
I
I
just
don't know why
added
you brought-
Alcaraz and Alcaraz. However
It
you
was
say
top-
in the
top of
sports
mind.
party.
Yeah. Who are your
cool note.
What?
Before I hit you with my for sure lock to be a favorite, prize money last time that Rory won. Wild guess.
Like the total purse or for
For
Winner.
the winner's share.
1.2
Let's do it
million.
in poundage.
Ooh, what about tunage?
1.2 million tunage.
I'm thinking it's going to be 55 fish and chips.
Oh, that yes, definitely. Also, 900,000 pounds. So whatever that converts to.
Don't know what it
Up to
converts to.
3 million this year. So shouts to Greg Norman and inflation.
Yeah, shout out Greg Norman. Still hanging on.
Sheesh.
Shout out Liv.
for now. But my for sure lock, because everybody, wants to follow my lead on this. Keep an eye out for Cam Smith.
And why is that? Why are you feeling bullish on Cam Smith?
I feel like he's been putting his game together a little bit. He's not afraid
Okay.
to win over there. He had a strong showing at the PGA. So, the guy's won majors. He plays well in big tournaments. He's been keeping his game sharp when playing 54 holes. Can only imagine what that looks like in another major.
Famously won the Open Championship in 2022.
at the
Interesting.
old course.
KJ, what would your fun gambling guy nickname be? I would probably be Davy Locks. Like, what would you guys be? I don't know what made me think of that, but you got to have a cool gambling name. So it's like, oh, dude,
Cash at the cage. Something
Cash at
along
the
those
cage?
lines.
I kind of like that.
That's not
That's
bad.
a good one. Can you beat that? I don't
You've
know if
used
you
that
can.
before. Dilly Dollars. I don't know. That's terrible.
Dilly Dollars.
I
That's
don't
not
know.
that bad.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Okay.
Dilly Dollar. Davy Locks sounds too. I've got the worst one. That's not good at
mean-
all. There's nothing unique about it.
It does impress like 70s-esque flow, but whatever. I like it.
Okay. You talking like pubic hair? You talking Merkins? It's a pubic wig, Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I figured that's where KJ was going with that, and if not, I apologize. I do apologize
Who do you-
very dearly.
Who should I watch in y'all's professional amateur opinion?
I would watch-
Who you keep an eye on?
Ricky. He also just turned his game back around, and he is fourth best odds at plus 1,200.
Oh,
He's obviously playing really, really well. Has refound his game. And then you got the usual suspects up there too. You got Scheffler is second, John Rahm third, Fleetwood's up there, Hove,
It's-
Dave's boy.
it's Scheffler. If I'm picking my least fun pick is Scheffler, because of course, like the guy's having an insane year, and if he just putts okay, he's going to win.
Yeah, Rory at plus 525 is your odds-on favorite. Like we already mentioned, it's been a very long time since he's won a major. Would love to see him pull one together. Would love to see that. He's playing really well. So who knows? He just seems to disappear on Saturday of majors.
Probably because it's for the boys,
Yeah, it's true.
which is weird because he's in a men's golf thing. So you think he
I
wouldn't?
think he want to stick around.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But KJ, who you like?
Cam Smith, and then I'm also realizing Victor Hovland was on my radar. He played like shit last weekend, but it would be nice to see him get over.
I would love
out
nothing more than seeing Vic Hov win because I just love the guy, and I don't know. I feel like Scotty's just boring as hell, man. Which is weird because he does a lot of things unorthodox, but just like the coolest thing he's done is turn his hat forward to backward in the rain. That's like the most electric thing he's done.
That's the coolest thing he's done.
Well, I mean, other than like all of the winning.
Than like winning tournaments.
Yeah. But I just need something else. I can't tell you what the coolest thing Victor Hovland's done is, other than just put a smile on all of our faces.
Oh,
No.
that's cute.
What's the coolest thing that Del Curry's son, Steph Curry, has done?
Man,
I know it's a celeb tournament, but that's still pretty sick.
I was watching it a little bit with my dad yesterday and my brother-in-law, and the comment I made is that he's one of these guys who's just annoyingly just really good at life. He just does everything well, and he's also extremely likable. It's so annoying. Fuck that guy.
Talking about you or Steph?
I'm talking about Steph, KJ.
Of course, the American Century Championship, I believe, is the tournament. And
He had the very sick hole-in-one.
hole in one. And then Dylan, I gotta say, man, as cool as your 12-footer to win your bachelor party scramble was,
And it was sick.
I gotta say the eagle putt to win an actual golf tournament, got from a guy who's top 10 in a completely different sport.
Right.
That's pretty dope.
It's pretty dope. I agree, Dave. It's pretty dope.
Did you see who got third?
Who?
No.
Joe Pavelski.
Really?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
not realize.
I knew he had game, so that makes sense. I did not know. You'll be shocked to know I didn't watch a ton of it.
And Aaron Rodgers, fifth. So
Oh, really?
correct.
Very cool. Yeah, that's an event that I don't know. I do kind of like watching those guys get out there, but I can only watch it for a little bit. I don't think that's an all-day viewing, watching amateurs, those kind of amateurs.
Better
at
than the
least.
match. Granted, he won the match the week before too, but still, I find celebrity amateurs, I guess it's just, celebrity titles, whatever, celebrity amateur events like that, to be more compelling than the match or some of these one-off things that we'll see out there. No Tones Roams in this event.
Was Tones not in?
I don't know. I don't see him on my rundown here, but I do see Charles Barkley finished 81st in the 93 player field.
I wonder what the threshold for getting an invite to that is. Because I feel like there's guys who play in this every year, and it's like that. It seems like there's a lot, like Huey Lewis, I feel like, is still out there, and it's like once you get the invite, are you kind of grandfathered in, or is there some kind of cut process to where it's like, all right, dude hasn't finished in the top half in 8 years, we got to get somebody else in there? I don't know. I'm basically asking because I'd like to know what we have to do. Because when are they going to start putting podcasters in? Tell me that.
We had that chance to play in that one. Remember
the
pro-am?
Oh yeah, and then
the players.
It was in, where was it? Atlanta.
For a practice round, mind
we
you.
would have played. We had a chance to play a
practice round. No,
Yeah.
It was not Atlanta. It was somewhere in Northeast.
You're right. Atlantic
New York
City.
I think it was New York.
Yeah, it was New York, and it
New
was the
York
tour.
City.
It was the first year they did the tour championship, and we
got
would have played with Pat Perez.
We got a straight up invite, and the higher ups at the company we used to work for were like, you know what? Nah, y'all can't go.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have helped the company, so which I completely understand. Speaking of help, how's Tennessee going to recover from all these shenanigans, KJ?
What, signing DeAndre?
I'm talking about.
I'm cooking a different story.
That's okay. Yes. That's okay. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you talk about things that I forgot about. I forgot, and maybe it's the glaring lack of SEC coverage in my game. But I forgot that Tennessee was going to get the book thrown at them, so to speak. And by that I mean have to vacate some wins.
What was the total number of penalties? Was more than 200 violations during his tenure at the University of Tennessee. Jeremy Pruitt, prior to getting the job, was the D coordinator at Bama or Georgia, one of the two. But by all accounts, his tenure there was an absolute shit show. His departure there was almost even worse, to the point where I believe both he and the AD were gone, and gone fairly quickly. But 18 level 1 violations, the most severe, most involved recruiting infractions, direct payments to athletes and their families, benefits that totaled $60,000. So 18 violations, 60 grand. You got to think this is probably by way of like cutting a check for something around their visit or something of that nature, because usually you can pay for a player and a family member for an official visit. I guarantee they were just like, yeah, bring them all. Well, here's the money to do it.
Well, according to knoxnews.com, actually, guys, George Floyd was on Pruitt's mind when he paid players' mom. It says here, Pruitt said he thought about racial inequity and the high-profile killings of, his words, black people when he gave a player's mother $300 in a Chick-fil-A bag.
What?
Yeah.
That's just not how it works.
That's what it says, dude. Tell me I'm not reading some like Onion-esque site. This is
how much was in that bag?
$300.
Okay.
That's not that much.
Not that much money.
I mean, I would love $300.
Yeah. I mean, you can do work at Chick-fil-A since it was in the Chick-fil-A bag. I understand that. But
you got to think there was some food in there too.
Okay, now we're talking.
So maybe it's like
maybe some tendies.
Are you a tendies guy there?
I go chicken strips at Chick-fil-A for sure. They're so good. Yeah, that's the order.
Pruitt said a player's mother showed up in the parking lot outside of the UT football complex in tears because of financial hardship. She told him she had nowhere else to turn for money to pay her bills. Okay. Look, I don't think this is that big of a deal. I just think I just feel like the pulling the.
Why does his explanation make it sound worse than it actually is? Just say like, yeah, I slipped her some money. Like,
Because,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I
I
don't-
wanted her son to play for me. Say that.
Pruitt said his privilege, her race, and social unrest were on his mind.
Okay.
I was
Like,
just thinking
okay.
about how fucking black she was.
What does vacating wins do for you? What did KJ say?
I don't know.
I was just trying to be in the head of Jeremy Pruitt. And he's like, my privilege and her race. Like, I was just thinking about how black this woman was and how fucking poor she was. So I figured I'd just break a couple rules and try to make it right.
Okay. Vacating wins from seasons that happened 4 or 5 years ago. What is that? How much does that actually matter? Who cares about that? Right?
I was hoping we'd get there. It means nothing.
It means nothing.
It means nothing. Like somebody I heard on the radio this morning was like they gave like this changes Tennessee as a program, their overall record from like 805, whatever. It's like, dude, that doesn't mean anything to anybody. Like it doesn't matter at all.
No one cares.
It's silly.
No one cares.
Can I just take us backwards really quickly?
Yeah. Please do, because you're cracking me up right now.
I didn't look for the answer. You told us before the episode that you wanted to get to his reason. I had no idea.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, and I wanted y'all to look at it before because I wanted to make sure I wasn't reading like a
I
joke
was not
website.
prepared for this, and maybe you are, but if so, I've got a lump in my throat thinking of this joke. But the Chick-fil-A bag. Do you think this is a situation where like he had the bag already, or it's a dry, brand new bag? He asked for an extra bag, or did he order a meal? And if there is food in there, do you at least take the steps of like stuffing it in to a box in that bag, or you just fucking dump it on top? Like, are you gonna be pissed off if your money's kind of hot and greasy?
Yeah, you can't put it in the little sandwich foil bag. You can't do that because you know that there's just so much humidity in those things.
$300. This came out of his pocket, right? Like this wasn't like donor money.
How do you get to 60 grand off $300?
He pulled three
That's a lot of
Benjis.
fucking nugs.
He pulled 3 Benjis out of his wallet and put it in there and handed it to her. This is a weird story.
It said he
Kinda
carried wads
like-
of cash around when he was at Alabama.
Okay.
So
I'm
this
a
guy's
little
just carrying
disrespected
wads.
at $300. Like, don't fucking meet me crying in a stadium parking lot and give me $300. Like, worse things have happened in stadium parking lots.
Was
Not
her
thinking of
son
anyone in particular.
already with the program, or was he a recruit?
I believe he was already with the program.
Okay.
Man, Pruitt offered to self-impose a 1-year show cause penalty, but he also argued that being fired for cause, forfeiting a $12 million buyout, and not being hired by another school for the past 2 seasons should be considered ample punishment. Don't really disagree. As much, right? I don't know. Like I'm never going to blame
causes
some.
where like you can't get a job. Like, what's show cause actually mean in legal terms?
I don't really know how to explain it in this context. I do know. I'm sorry, man. I can't get past some of the shit I'm reading in here. And the photo they decided to use of him, where he's got the Tennessee. Okay, I don't know. It's just absurd. Pruitt thought moms turned on him to protect sons. Boy, man, this guy really went through it, and I feel like Tennessee being a very, very prestigious program, right? Blue blood. Maybe blue blood adjacent.
They're on the bubble.
I don't know. I feel like this would have been a bigger deal, but whatever. The
Okay,
Chick-fil-A bag.
so-
Yeah, they'll be fine.
So what's the most?
A university cannot hire a coach or recruiter without penalties during the ban unless the NCAA agrees. So if he were to be hired by anybody, he would be suspended for the duration of that show cause. So
Yeah, I saw 1 year. If he,
Yes, correct.
and that's
Got
that's not just a head coaching gig. That's even if he wants to be like a QA or an analyst or something.
correct.
Which sucks. So did y'all ever come to a conclusion like what is the best vessel inside of a Chick-fil-A bag to hide $300 in cash in? Is it the tendies box? Is it the sandwich?
You could do a nice band in there. Roll
Yeah.
it up, band it,
You know he's carrying bands around.
put it in that 4-piece chicken strip box. It'll fit nicely in there.
Or is it the waffle
Okay.
fry container?
Bands and make her dance.
Yeah, I was
too,
going to say,
Tim.
just like straight in the back of the waffle fry. Or empty out that drink and you just put it in the cup. Throw a straw in there. It's probably the weakest option, but it would work.
Yeah. Drink it up, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Well, this might be a Jeremy Pruitt podcast now. Now that I've read all of this, look, man. It sounds like he's a pretty nice guy. He's just trying to help some people out who are going through some tough times. But
I need to write him an email. Tell him I'm black as shit. Can you send me some money? Or just some fucking Chick-fil-A.
I'm not going to write that
I'm okay
email.
with either.
We could probably get him on the show. There's no show cause for doing
thinking
potties.
of racial inequity and her race, my privilege.
Man.
Goodness gracious, that's tremendous. Okay, let's do some partying.
No, let's party. This is
Let's party.
I feel like we've been partying this whole time. This is the part of the show where we not only podcast, but
I threw
podcast at the same
a
time.
little Wimbledon action on there because, you know, we do sports and stuff, so I figured might as well. But yeah,
Alcaraz.
knocked off the Joker.
Epic.
Let him
dude.
come back a little bit. He went up 2-1 and let the old man steal that fourth set from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking tennis. I don't really follow tennis closely.
No,
but
this
I'm
is
talking-
good.
I'm talking a little
You sound
tennis.
like you know what you're doing here.
But the youngster, just 20 years old, too much for the old savvy vet.
Yeah. I mean, I know enough about tennis to say that this guy is the next big thing. So I hope that really helps and satisfies everyone's need to hear about Wimbledon. Love Wimbledon. Love the pageantry. Love seeing Tommy Fleetwood with the lads. I love seeing
Man,
random people there.
an absolute who's who of celebs that go to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You had
Kings,
you had
fucking princes.
royalty. Yeah, royalty was there. You got Brad Pitt. I mean, a lot of folks.
Jeremy Pruitt was there
That's right. With Chick-fil-A.
with a
I
he
will
put
say
money
this
in a
about Carlos
fish and chips
Alcaraz.
container.
What's
I'll
up?
say this about Carlos Alcaraz. Like, my knowledge of him has been, I won't say negative, but he's one of those people who emotes a lot, like a lot of tennis players do, but is the type that talks shit in a very negative manner in a lot of matches. But when you see that opposite of Joker, who is also that same dude who will bitch and moan, it was tremendous. It was great television. For him to be 20, I feel like I've heard about Carlos Alcaraz for at least 2 or 3 years. I'm excited to see, where this goes. What I don't love is in his first post-match interview being asked, do you now see yourself as that next rival for Novak Djokovic? I'm like, I just beat him. I'm the man. Don't ask me. He needs to be worried about being my rival.
I believe
his time's up.
I believe he is 2-1 all time against the Joker.
Yeah. So I'm not saying he should have slam dunked and talked shit. He handled it well. I just didn't love the question. But anyways, yeah. It was a great way to fill like 2 hours on the plane.
KJ, you put this one in here. Congrats to Daniela Hemsley on her big win.
Yes. She does seem to be one of those big one of those opportunities in boxing. I can't remember my the joke I was going for there.
Mm-hmm.
But as a man who supports women in sports, maybe all-time goated post-game celebration.
She busted them things out, Dylan.
Saw that.
Pulled the top up. We can't show it because we don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. Fucking censorship.
I saw it on my TL and I accidentally hit play and it just kept replaying a couple of times. I couldn't get it to stop. So
Them things were
I
thanging,
did
weren't
accidentally see titties on the TL. Sorry for those who I offended.
I caught it while on the flight back, and no apologies. If you're looking at my phone while I'm on the flight, you're welcome.
they? Sorry, I do a sports podcast. Okay.
Yeah, it's research.
Just working here. Be more worried about this cover over my pants.
Hey, did you guys see that the Red River Rivalry is back?
Yes.
So it was the Red River
That's tremendous
Shootout.
to see.
It was the Red River Shootout till 2005. 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went to Rivalry and then Showdown.
And now it's back to Rivalry.
They changed it from Shootout because you can't promote
Yeah.
gun. You can't promote guns. But
And
that's always been my favorite. Red River Rivalry is a mouthful. It's so hard for me to say.
It's terrible. And also, like, but you can't argue with this. Like, there's been no gun violence since they changed the name from Red River Shootout.
I always
it's completely stopped gun violence.
I want to order a or pay Cole Campbell to say something about the Red River Rivalry just to see how well that would go.
It's just unnecessary.
Like, hey, good luck to Texas.
Before I start this.
That's him about to record your cameo.
Yeah, I probably won't do that, but I imagine it would be fun.
I'll just call it Texas OU.
Yeah, that's what I call it. Yeah, but the shootout was the best name.
Not even close.
No one's going out and buying guns because it's called that.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Well, somebody probably has.
I don't know.
Like
There's a lot of
maybe,
scum who goes to that game. You ever been on the West End on Texas OU weekend?
No.
Just sucker
Not
punch
great.
central.
It has been way too long since I've been at that game. I need to go back very soon.
Catch me at the Barley House, bro. Sorry.
Maybe we can talk about that. It'd be a good opportunity.
Wouldn't hate it.
Showdown wasn't terrible. I'm sure there are other reasons they got rid of it, but like getting away from the RRR minus the movie makes sense. But whatever.
D-Hop. He's a Tennessee Titan. Does that surprise you?
Are they paying? What's up with AJ Brown? They paying him? What's his deal?
Oh, he's gone.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Where'd he
Eagle.
go?
He's a, yeah.
Oh, that's
He's
right. Who am I thinking? Who they have left?
Traylon Burks from Arkansas,
mind.
and maybe
Yeah.
his name is something different.
God, I forgot AJ Brown went to the Eagles. I guess I knew
Yeah,
that.
he's really,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because he's really good.
He's very good.
Led them to a Super Bowl
Yeah.
Traylon.
appearance. They lost. Yeah, I was surprised. It's Tennessee. I was like, oh, I don't know. I was kind of thinking bigger splash. Maybe New England. Maybe Dallas. I knew he wasn't going to Dallas, but you know what I mean. Whatever. That's fine. I guess. What's the quarterback room there? What's that looking like?
Tannehill, Malik
Willis.
That's right.
Yeah, Malik Willis.
Tannehill's got toe thumbs.
I was surprised until I remembered that Vrabel in Houston, same time as D-Hop, offensive coordinator for the Titans, was also like the passing game coordinator for the Titans during Hopkins' time in Houston. So,
Okay.
it makes sense from a familiarity standpoint. I don't know that I love it given that he's in the AFC South now, but whatever, we'll see.
And finally, we don't have to show the video, but there was another spectator-caused crash at the Tour de France. This happens every so often, and I just feel like that has always made me. That always gives me anxiety. The thought of just being that close to the action and how close those people get. Oftentimes they're getting pats on the back from random people, and the fact that this doesn't happen like every other day during the tour, it surprises me a bit. But
people reach out. I mean, how do they not have barriers that you can't cross? I don't know. This stuff happens too much, man.
Very sad.
Ridiculous.
That was a sports party.
Okay, we can run it back. It's not going to be a long one today. It's, of course, a segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. KJ came to Central Texas and didn't holler at us.
It's true. That's true.
KJ is not in the Texas Tech Ring of Honor. However, Patrick Mahomes is. Makes sense of that, folks.
But he's got Brittany.
Jackson and Brittany Mahomes stay hitting the whoa. Kirk didn't get the jab. KJ remembers the time Mike Singletary pulled out his football dong at halftime.
To be clear, his dong isn't a football.
Right. We don't know that.
Well, we don't know that. Yeah, I wasn't
I've
there.
never seen it myself.
It would be funny if it was a football.
Dylan's a big Tindies guy. We had titties on the TL. And finally, Ryan Tannehill has toe thumbs.
All those T's.
Toe thumbs.
Titties, TL, Tannehill, toe, thumbs.
Tendies.
Tendies.
And that concludes Run It Back.
Alliteration. Hey, that's a podcast there, folks. We'll be back next week. Same time-ish. Same place. Until then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dip, that's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.